A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Jesus said to his disciples, "A rich man had a steward who was reported to him for squandering his property. He summoned him and said, 'What is this I hear about you? Prepare a full account of your stewardship, because you can no longer be my steward.' The steward said to himself, 'What shall I do now that my master is taking the position of steward away from me? I am not strong enough to dig, and I am ashamed to beg. I know what I shall do so that when I am removed from the stewardship, they may welcome me into their homes.' He called in his master's debtors one by one. To the first he said, 'How much do you owe my master?' He replied, 100 measures of olive oil.' He said to him, 'Here is your promissory note. Sit down and quickly write one for 50. Then to another he said, 'And you, how much do you owe?' He replied, 100 measures of wheat.' He said to him, 'Here is your promissory note. Write one for 80. And the master commended that dishonest steward for acting prudently. For the children of this world are more prudent in dealing with their own generation than the children of light.'" The Gospel of the Lord. Resiliency is a character trait deeply ingrained in us Filipinos. In times of crisis, we exhibit a unique attitude toward facing life's adversities. It represents a source of pride and solidarity among us. In the face of natural calamities, historical and social injustices, and contemporary issues, we continue to show courage and strength, evoking admiration and respect from others. This illustrates our adaptability and resilience as integral parts of our identity when confronted with afflictions. Yet, have we ever taken the time to reflect and engage into introspection about what has made this possible? What truly defines us as resilient Filipinos? In today's Gospel, Jesus shares the parable of the dishonest steward. He is not suggesting that we should imitate the unjust actions of the steward, as these are morally repugnant. Instead, the lessons that emerges from this parable emphasizes the steward's decisiveness in the face of crisis. This puzzling parable appears peculiar, yet Jesus conveys a message through the actions of the dishonest servant. In the passage, the steward deceives his master. He approaches his master's creditors and reduces what they owe, foregoing the cut he would have taken for himself. This behavior illustrates the servant's prudence in facing his crisis by building good relationships and gaining favor with his master's creditors, ensuring that he would have someone to rely on once he lost his stewardship. Here, the dishonest servant recognized the value of human relationships over the value of money. Dear Thomasians, our identity as Filipinos has been shaped by numerous challenges and adversities. Moreover, we continue to support one another, which makes us resilient in the face of everything we have encountered. However, how long should we remain resilient? Have we ever contemplated what led us to our current situation? The dishonest steward experienced a metanoia. He realized that his dishonesty had resulted in his crisis. The compelling message of the parable challenges us to go deeper and become more prudent. Can we liken ourselves to the wise steward? Like him, are we wise enough to discern and recognize the good in every circumstance? Yet, how can this be if the root cause of the crisis that we are facing is not being addressed. For instance, consider the current issues surrounding flood control, where corruption is deeply embedded. The marginalized sectors of our society are often the ones who suffer the most from the effects of corruption. Consequently, it appears that our resilience is not a choice, but a necessity due to the challenges posed by social injustices. It seems that we have normalized the suffering and tend to romanticize Filipino resiliency. The Catechism of the Catholic Church states that prudence is the virtue that disposes practical reason to discern our true good in every circumstance and to choose the right means of achieving it. Prudence guides us toward making ethical choices and sound moral judgment in the face of adversities and challenges. St. Thomas Aquinas teaches that prudence is right reason in action. The Gospel for today invites us to examine our situation and prudently discern the right course of action in the circumstances we find ourselves in. Filipino resilience is both a gift and a treasure. However, it must not remain solely as our collective identity, but rather serve as the seed from which prudent social action is born. Like the steward who turned his situation into a fruitful one, we are also called to do the same. We must discern the true good amid crisis and act with a right judgment of conscience. Therefore, we can rise from the passivity of enduring hardships to actively confronting the toxic systems that we tend to normalize if we embrace the virtue of prudence. As the scripture states, the prudent see the danger and take cover, but the simple keep going and suffer the consequences.